I'm JD. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please hit like and share with others. So today I'm going to talk about watchmaking as a hobby. And I'm going to just go through a couple of things you're going to need to start off this hobby. So please bear with me. So let's get going. So I guess the first thing is psychologically, why would you start watchmaking as a hobby? Well, first of all, it's an adventure into a discipline that is very old and that will completely satisfy you. So if you're curious at all, if you're technical at all, and if you want to do something that there is no end to, then this is a great hobby. I started watchmaking when I was middle-aged, I'd say, and I was just curious. I had a scuba diving watch, a Seiko diver, that wasn't working, and I sent it in to get fixed, and the gentleman who fixed it didn't really fix it, and I did a little bit of research and figured out how to regulate a watch, and from there I just jumped right in, and before I knew it, I was a watchmaker. So what other things would cause you to start this hobby? Well, first of all, if you're going to retire, whether you're 55 or older, it's a great hobby to get into, and there's a lot of support for this hobby out there. There's a lot of folks out there that are watchmakers and amateur watchmakers that you can go to for help. There's a lot of websites that you can go to, and there's a lot of blogs that you can go to where you can learn a lot. So starting this as a hobby is an adventure. You get to meet a lot of very interesting people in this profession, I'll call it. You become over time a horologist, and if you want to actually register as a horologist, you can go to Switzerland, or there's some schools in the US, and actually take formal courses on doing it. Now that's not what I did. I didn't take formal courses, but I have every book you can imagine on watchmaking, and I have every video you can imagine on watchmaking. I did take formal courses that were available on the internet for diagnosing watches, for stripping down watches, for cleaning watches. I asked questions. I asked and asked. I had problems I couldn't solve, and I had gentlemen like guys like Old Hippie would help me, and he's a watchmaker in the UK. I had other people that were just helping me all the time and making my adventure, I guess, workable. Workable is not the right word. Doable is a better word. As I went into the various challenges of repairing watches, I would find problems, and I'd have to address those problems. And some of them you've seen with my many videos on watchmaking, where I had to either learn how to do something or figure it out. Now, I am an electrical engineer by degree, although I work in management currently. I am an electrical engineer, so I'm a curious individual. I've always been very curious, and I think people that get into the profession of watchmaking are curious people. First, they want to know, how does this thing actually work? How does a watch work? Why does it tick? How does it keep time? And I remember when I started watchmaking and I saw these gears here all going to a balance wheel and it ticking away, I was like, why does this balance wheel tick, and what's it used for, and what's the purpose of all this stuff? So, which, you know, got me onto an academic adventure of trying to learn all this stuff. So I'm going to just start now and start talking about some of the basics you need to start watchmaking, and you can build from there. So let's start. So I would highly recommend buying this book, right? So it's called The Watch Repairer's Manual by Henry B. Fried, and it is a superb manual on how to repair a watch. And I'm not going to review this manual because I have reviewed it many times, but it does go through the basic functions of a watch. I love when they say modern watch, and the book was written probably the first time 50, 60 years ago. Anyway, cleaning and overhauling a movement. It goes through all the necessary steps of working on a watch. It goes through pocket watches, and it has a little bit on watches as well, but it goes primarily through pocket watches. As it says here, it's got summary sections and has questions and all those things. So you can sit at night and simply read this book thorough from page to page, front to back. Read it completely. Even if you don't know what you're doing yet, read it. So you'll read this and you'll not know why you're learning this right away. And then the second time you go through this book, you'll be doing it because there's practical exercises on doing this. So, and I've done a lot of these things, like mainspring repairs. Like I've had to access this book over the years for doing things like putting a hook on a mainspring and bending the mainspring over and all that wonderful stuff. I've actually done that. So I've always had a reason to go back to this book again and figure out, how do I do this? Making a stem for a watch, all the sorts of things you can do. And there's special tools you'll need to get. But when you start watchmaking, if you just buy a watch that's sort of ticking, so it doesn't have broken pivots on the balance staff, then you can practice stripping down the watch and start from there. So let's get to some of the very basic tools you'll need to start watchmaking. All right, the first tool you're going to need to start watchmaking is a set of tweezers. So I bought a set of tweezers years ago. The first set I bought, let me grab these here, and Anchor tweezers, and I still use these tweezers. They're Anchor, they're brass, they're really good. I like the brass because for some reason the parts don't fling out of them as much using these tweezers, and these tweezers don't cost much at all, and they're very good. I've just used these Anchor tweezers, although I have other tweezers for special purposes that I might have. And then when you start using your tweezers, you just have to learn how to work with tweezers and pick things up and rotate them, and not be afraid to do that. And if you drop something, you try again. So if you're able to take very small parts, pick them up, and rotate them with the tweezers, you learn how to continue to apply pressure with the tweezers. I think I gave a video on that a long time ago, but tweezers are number one, so get yourself a set of tweezers. You can buy Anchor tweezers, which are very cost effective, and they work, and those are the ones I've been using all along for years. So go ahead and get yourself a pair of tweezers and learn how to use the tweezers. Sit there and maybe spend an hour just picking parts up and putting them down. You need to have the fine dexterity in your hands, and you need to be able to be steady and pick things up as a watchmaker. So that's the first tool you need to get, is a set of tweezers. The second tool you're going to get starting in this hobby is a set of screwdrivers. These are Bergeron screwdrivers. I always say it wrong. I always say Bergeron, but Bergeron screwdrivers are Swiss made, and Bergeron is a company in Chaux-de-Fonds, I think, in Switzerland. And get yourself a good set of screwdrivers. You won't regret it. Don't go cheap on your screwdrivers, because all you're going to end up doing is buying another set. So I went there originally. I bought this set of very small screwdrivers. Each one of them cost me a lot of money, and I realized they were actually too small. Basically I ended up buying these. So the other thing with screwdrivers is you can learn how to dress your screwdrivers so they're always flat, they're always the right size for the screws, and then you make sure you maintain your tools. But you just need to dress these screwdrivers with a stone of some sort. But even then, without dressing them, a set of screwdrivers could probably last you 6 months without doing any dressing of the screwdrivers at all. And these ones come with additional blades that you can replace. I usually dress the ones I have, and I don't think I've ever used an additional blade, and it's been a lot of years. So you're also going to need a balance tack. This one came from AliExpress China, probably cost me 20 bucks, maybe 30 bucks. It's actually really heavy, and it also has the tack part is adjustable like this, so you can move it closer or farther away, which is nice when you're resting the balance on here. And also this is adjustable, so you can move in and out with this. So this is a balance tack. I've got two versions of this, plus I have a balance tack that you've seen me in my video that I've made special purpose. But here's another balance tack. I think I got that on AliExpress as well, cheap as heck from China. And again, I put a little bit of rodico on here, and allows me to move this around, and I shave some material off the bottom of this one, so it will go lower for pocket watch balances. And this one comes with extra balances here that you can use, or tacks that you can use. So a good product, and you need that. Then you need to buy some rodico. This is easy to find. It's not that expensive. Don't buy the expensive version of it, and don't go and buy it from China. So you can buy it off of Amazon, no problem, but try to get the Bergeron rodico. It's a good product. It comes, this one's already ripped open. I just keep taking pieces off of it, but it comes looking like this, and you just basically squeeze a piece of rodico off. Let me just do that right in front of you here. There we go. And then you can use a rodico. As you see, watch my videos, you'll see all the uses I have for rodico. So from picking up parts to cleaning to whatever, this is man's best friend. It's almost like duct tape. Very close to duct tape. I think it's man's best friend. People go, what is rodico? Who is rodico? Why is rodico? Let me clarify. Now you also need a movement holder of some sort. So this is a movement holder here, a set of movement holders. Again, I think I bought this from AliExpress as well. Cheap as heck from AliExpress. These are actually really good movement holders, even though I keep touting the movement holder called the Myers number 58 movement holder, which is the one I use all the time. These will do. I've used these for many, many years. They're good movement holders. They're solid. And if you just look at this packaging here and try to get the movement holders that look like this, you got yourself all set for anything from a pocket watch would be this size to maybe a lady's wristwatch would be around this size. So a good set of movement holders, and you're ready to go. The reason I got the Myers number 58 is when you apply pressure on the side of these things, sometimes the movement might pop out, but just be careful. I used these movement holder types for many, many years before I got my first Myers number 58 movement holder. If you're lucky, you can get one right away. If you're unlucky, you're going to spend a couple years hunting for one and then finally get one. They're not cheap. Now you should get yourself a parts tray. I recommend this. I've gone through tons of different parts trays, big long ones with 1 million compartments in them, all kinds of crap. I finally settled on this parts tray, and this is a watch I'm working on right now. And this is a Myers number 58 movement holder in here. But the parts tray is all organized, and you can just, when you strip a part down, you can get everything into that parts tray. Here I've got the movement holder in, but you could take this out and have the movement in the center, not a problem. But these are cheap as heck as well. You can get these probably on Amazon.com, get them delivered. Again, this is something I usually get from AliExpress again because it's cheap. I think they sell them for $2 each, so I can get a whole whack of them for nothing. I usually have 10 or 15 of these parts trays all stacked up. Right now I've got 6 parts trays on my desk, all having jobs in them right now. But get yourself a parts tray. So now you got to get yourself better vision. So a loop. I use these kinds of loop. This one is actually for coin work and stuff like that. But these kinds of loop fit in your eye. So, and you just take the loop like this, you put it in your eye like that, and you hold your eye quite loosely. And if you don't stress yourself, these loops work just fine, and they'll stay in with whatever you do. So I think the fatter your eye, the better they stay in. So get yourself a good loop. Now, if you got a few bucks laying around, then don't waste your time on all the other loops. Get yourself a good Airy loop. So what I did here, I've got 2 of these actually on different sets of glasses. So what I did here is I got a set of prescription glasses. If you need glasses for viewing your screen, your computer screen or whatever, the top part is for viewing the computer screen. The bottom part is like a ×3 loop, which gives me the perfect distance from my eyes down to the mat. So that's a ×3 loop. And then this loop here that flips down is a ×5. So I'm not sure how the math works when you do that, because there has to be a little bit of math involved with the distance between the glass in this loop and the glass in this loop to tell you what kind of magnification you're getting. But the Airy loop, and I'll just give you a little close up here, it's ARY. Look it up. They're not cheap. They're probably about 130 US, and they grab onto your glasses, and these things here mold onto the frame of your glasses. These are used by Rolex. Folks from Rolex use these, and other very high-end watch companies. The glass on this loop is very high-end glass, and I always keep this loop and the glasses in a nice little bag here, so I know that it's not going to get scratched. So ARY loop. Just get that loop and forget all the other ones, because I went through loop hell where I bought cheap ones, and I bought the loop set of 5, and I bought other ones. I bought flip down ones that were okay but still useless. I did a lot of buying of loops until I finally realized you got to get quality. So this is the loop you should buy. If you don't need to wear glasses, just get yourself a set of glasses with no lens, basically no magnification on the lens at all, and attach the loop to that. Or you can get yourself a set of glasses with ×3 from the drugstore and just use the loop on the ×3, so the whole thing is ×3, and then you've got a times 5 Airy loop. When you buy the Airy loop, buy the extra large. Don't buy large. Extra large, you'll regret it if you buy large. So do that, and you won't regret it. To clean a watch properly, and I've used this for years, I've used Zippo or equivalent lighter fluid. So make sure you wear a little protection so you don't breathe this in, or you have it well ventilated. Now the beautiful thing behind this Zippo lighter fluid is it's like naphtha. Don't be smoking around it, okay? Unless you're actually a smoker, but this will evaporate completely. So after you've used it, it leaves no gum, no residue. It evaporates completely. Some people actually use alcohol, isotropic alcohol or denatured alcohol after they've used this to clean, to give it a final cleaning with denatured alcohol, I'll say, which is quite potent, and that works fine. But for pocket watch work, I've done this for years. You use this, a brush of some sort. Just buy a set of cheap paint brushes and use a jar. This is a jar I've used for years. You can put your parts in a jar, pour some lighter fluid in, put the part in first, then pour the lighter fluid in, and then use this here with a set of tweezers to hold the part and just wash it away. And you'll see how much stuff comes off the part. It takes a long time to clean a watch this way properly. Long is not like half an hour maybe to do it really well. And then, but I have a watch cleaning machine, a Pearl watch cleaning machine now that I've used for many years. But this works. So I did this for many, many years, probably 10 years of cleaning watches with lighter fluid. So this would explain why I'm so dizzy, okay? Now what you should also get is a set of watch papers. These are pretty easy to find on eBay or whatever. This is $1.30 back in 1920 probably. But these are watch papers. They're super thin. I bought this centuries ago and I still have tons of it remaining. Like it's 1,000 pieces of watch paper, right? So, and this is what you use to put your parts on to absorb the lighter fluid and the liquid. And if you're using alcohol, same thing. And you can actually reuse the watch paper even after it dries off. You can reuse it. You don't need another piece of watch paper, especially with lighter fluid. It'll just dissipate. It'll evaporate. It's gone. So get yourself some watch paper. Contains 1,000 sheets. I'm telling you, this will last you 10 years or more, especially if you reuse the sheets that you have. You're not crumpling them up. You're just using them to absorb extra liquid. You should get a puffer, something like this. Again, very cheap. You can again go on AliExpress or Amazon or one of those, or eBay or whatever. And this puffer is used for a million different things. One thing it is used for is actually to speed up the drying process if you're using lighter fluid to actually clean your watch, right? So this will you just hold it with the tweezers and you blow on it like this, especially if you're working with hairsprings. And you're trying to get all the guck off a hairspring. And by the way, lighter fluid, don't put your hairspring in the watch cleaning machine. Just dunk it in lighter fluid, let it sit for a while, and agitate it with this here, and just go na 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 na. That's another way of agitating something. so do that, and you're going to and it'll work really well. I've gotten hairsprings down to mint condition using this here. So get yourself one of these little puffers. They're cheap and they're necessary. Then you need a bench block of some sort. This is a very cheap little bench block. They're pretty heavy, and this is for working with balances. So if you're taking a balance apart, you're going to need a bench block to put the actual balance in, to remove the hairspring and do other things. So this is a pretty cheap little bench block that I got. You need one of these as a minimum. So when you take your watch apart and you take the mainspring out of the barrel, you're going to need to wind it back in. Now you can wind a mainspring back in a barrel by hand, which takes a little bit of practice to do it right. You're not going to be able to do this with gloves on. I've tried it. It does not work winding it by hand. But if you want to keep it pristine and you're working on a very high-end watch, get yourself a mainspring winder. These things are pretty accessible. There's not a lot of demand for these, I don't think. So get yourself one of these mainspring winders. This is a vintage one. And you won't regret it. Good tool, winds the mainspring back into the barrel. Essential. So I forgot to mention, when you're stripping a watch down, you have to take the hands off. You can buy yourself very simple hand maneuver removers, where you slip these under the hands and you pop them up. Again, my videos have all kinds of technique on how to use these. I've gotten better ones over the years. If you want to go better fast, then you can get these here. Find these online. Look like this. They're wider, which spreads a bit of the pressure on the face of the watch, so there's less chance of the watch cracking from doing this. I have never had a watch face crack ever, even using these, so it's pretty safe. And I typically will use these to take the seconds hand off of a pocket watch, so that's what I recommend. Set of watch hand removers. Now, to get the watch hands back on, you need a set of watch hand pushers. There's 3 of these in the set. This is one of the 3 that are in the set. And here you're just pushing the hand straight down on the watch. Again, if you watch my videos, you're going to see me doing that in a number of my repair videos. When I do a complete reassembly of the watch, you'll see how I do that and how important it is for setting the watch hands, that it's straight up and down and that you have the hands can fly over each other and there's no issue. So buy yourself a set of these, absolutely essential. I do mainly pocket watch work, but I've done some very detailed work for people like Bill. If you're out there, Bill, shout out. If you're doing pocket watch work, again, you get yourself a set of bench keys. Again, there's 3 of these in the set, different sizes. And this is when you have the movement out on its own and you want to wind it up, you stick that in there and you wind up the watch. You need a set of bench keys. That's what these are called. Buy yourself a set. Now go to your local hobby shop and buy this tool here. Costs you maybe $2. And it's used for tweaking pivots to get them back into the holes. So you can use it for other things too. I found this one in particular useful. I have one that goes at a right angle. I never use it. This is the one I use all the time. Buy yourself this one. Forget all the other nonsense. Now you're going to need a case opener or case back opener. This is one I found. I think this is, what is it? It is, oh, I think I got that made in China too. If you're going to get a case back opener, get this one. They have the ones with the thin handles. They're useless. Get one with a good grip on it, right? So you can really hold that thing down. And this particular model, I can't see what the model is, but maybe if I hold it close to the camera, you'll be able to see the model name. There it is, KAIBIAO. So look for that. Gong, this is obviously made in China, Gongju. So this is a good one. You can grip it with your hand. So sometimes you need to open the back of a case and you have to wedge that in, and you need a good grip. I have another one as well, and I never use it, the thin one. Plus I have a very high-end one. That's a Bergeron case back opener, and I'll use that if I'm working on a super high-end watch. But this one here is a go-to. Buy one of these. Don't go cheap. This is not that expensive. Now, it took me years to buy this, but this is the Bergeron 7010, and it's a resistant watch tool. Very resistant watch tool. I'm not sure what they mean. It's a Polyamide stick, and it's used fundamentally. It's got a pointy side and a flat side, and I've often used the flat side to hold springs down, like when you're in a watch and they've got a spring that looks like a piano wire or a guitar string, and it's sort of looped around, and you have to hold that in place while you're putting a screw on top of it or something like that. These things are priceless. So, and then this side as well, I also put a minute amount of pressure on top of the balance when I'm putting the screw back in, so the balance doesn't move. But get yourself this stick. It took years again for me to figure out what, to buy this stick, to figure out I needed one of them. So this is a Bergeron 7010, it's called, and I've used this for years again. So when you're working on watches here and you're taking the hands off, you can buy a few of these here, Bergeron 6938s. You slip underneath the hands, and then the hand removers end up touching this on the side. I would say this is a waste of money. Just get yourself a plastic bag like this that's a little bit soft, it's not super hard, and it's kind of a plastic, very light plastic bag. Cut out a square, and then you put that over the face of the watch. You drop it on the face of the watch, and you use your hand removers, and it pops the hands up from there. So the other thing this does is prevent the hands from flying off. So because they're protected, they'll hit the back of this thing. So just get yourself a sheet of plastic for removing hands and you're done. This is a compass used to put on the top of a watch to see if it's magnetized. If you're going to do watch work, then try to demagnetize the watch after you're finished working on it, because it can affect the timing of the watch. This is a really cheap compass. It still is a bubble in it, so as well, it's obviously super cheap. So some of these compasses come, this one you can put it on a watch, so it's got a watch strap thing, so you can pretend you're in the Army and put that in the compass. When I was in the Army, I was in the Armored Corps, and I was in my basic training, I did have a compass, but it was a lot bigger than this and a lot more accurate. Otherwise I would have got lost. So this here is a watch demagnetizer. So it, again, AliExpress, cost me almost nothing, and it looks like this. I'll take it out of the box here for a second. The box looks like that. You end up putting the watch movement in here. You hold the button down here, the light goes on, and then you move the watch movement slowly out to about 2-3 feet away, and then it becomes demagnetized. So you got to get yourself one of these watch demagnetizers. It's essential. Get yourself a compass. You don't want to finish cleaning the watch and then put it back together and it's not demagnetized. So there you go. Now, to do watch timing, you can do something as simple as use your iPhone with a watch tuner time grapher. I think this product is really cheap as an app on the iPhone. This is the starting way. Again, this is basic watch tools. I, as you've seen, have way more than that. I have the e-timer software, which will run you about $750 for actually assessing escapement problems. And I also have a Witchy 1500 watch timer as well. I got all kinds of stuff, but basic watch repair, you can just use an app and that'll work just fine. All right, oils. You really don't need more than these oils here. You can look up watch repair oils and oiling, and they'll recommend all kinds of stuff, but really you want to use HP 1300 or what it's called 9104, and in this case it's coming in a little container like that, and it usually looks red like this. So this is used for, I say, the high friction gears or high friction pivots, so the larger gears and larger pivots, and that's what this oil is used for. And then for the balance and some of the other pivots that are very fine, you're using the 9010, it's called, and it looks like that. That's the 9010 oil. So, and you're going to have to get yourself a little oil holder, and they're pretty inexpensive. I got one right here. I'm going to reach over and grab it. This one's dirty. I don't use it anymore, but this is a very cheap oil holder like this, so it's dirty, but so there's my 9010 there, and there's my HP 1300 there. And then you're going to need the microgliss, the D5 as well, and this is used for even more further friction, like the watch stems or the setting mechanisms in the watch, microgliss. And get yourself some of this D5 microgliss. Get yourself an oiling container here. I still use this I don't use these oils, they're dirty, but this one here I still will use. I try to keep it clean, but I've got a very, very high-end oiling station that you've seen in my videos that I typically use. Now, the other one here that you should get is this 8213 natural grease. So what this is barrel grease. So it's locking grease for your barrel, for your automatic mainsprings. So this barrel grease you're going to need. This thing of barrel grease will last me, I don't know, 500 years. So if you see me 500 years from now fixing watches because Elon Musk invented a time machine or something, or they figured out how to stop aging, this barrel grease would probably be down to here after 500 years of use. So get yourself some of this 8213 barrel grease, and that'll work fine. Now you're going to need some oilers. You need to buy a few oilers here to actually oil the watches, and they're usually different sizes on the ends. They come in packs of 3 or 4, and you're using the smaller oils for the lighter oil and the thicker oilers for the heavier oil. So you need yourself a couple of oiling sticks, and these are Bergillon as well. People will write the word Bergillon on almost everything, Some of them are not Bergio, they're just right Bergio on it. So, but these are oiling sticks. These are my backup ones. These aren't the main ones I use. Now, if you want to shine up a case, like a watch case, so let me get the case up over here for a second. So here is the Bride of Frankenwatch here. And I believe it's still running really well, and I've got to send it back to the individual that owns it someday. He's probably watching this and saying, "Where's my watch?" This thing is working well now, I believe. So, and hopefully it'll continue to work well. And it was having an overbanking problem that I solved by screwing with the bead air. I shouldn't have done it, but it was my only solution. So if you want to shine that up so it looks brand new, which I did not do with this watch, you get yourself some Peak, P-E-E-K. Your local hardware store will have this. It works exceptionally, and you put a little tiny dab on there, and you do this, and it shines the back up like you wouldn't believe. So the back of your watch will look like new. I don't recommend doing this on gold-filled pocket watch movements because it does remove the gold. So, and gold on the gold-filled watch is very thin, but on these watches it's not removing anything. These are fundamentally a nickel alloy that these things are made of. They're not stainless steel from the old days, or a nickel alloy. And this will have no issue cleaning this watch. Let me look at this thing and see it ticking. Just love this old watch. There it is, ticking away, and ticking well too. There you go, Alan Tick. Little joke for you Canadians. Yeah, these are probably says Silveroid. That's typically the name of the watch case. But you get yourself some Peak. I'm doing a squirrel moment right now, and that'll help you with a cloth, just a fine cloth, to clean up the movements like this. And making these movements look brand new is a good thing, I think. Taking an old beat up gold-filled pocket watch and trying to refresh it completely might not serve the purpose, because let me get an old pocket watch out here. So this is a very old, this is an 1886 pocket watch that I repaired quite a while ago. This is my pocket watch actually, and let me just get this thing ticking. There it is. And this watch here, I don't think I'd take Peak to it because it would remove some of the gold, and there's a nice little a deer in the back and stuff like that. So I just love this watch, by the way. Love the design of it and everything. So that's that for the use of Peak. Now this is a little more advanced watchmaking, but you're going to need for doing balance work, balance staff work, and maybe even work on wheels, but mainly balances and balance staffs. For removing them and putting them back in, you're going to need to get yourself a decent staking set. So here is a Marshall staking set that I have. I actually have a balance on here that's been resting there for a while, and I need to take this balance and reinstall it into a very high-end pocket watch. So you need this as a minimum. Get yourself a decent staking set, and of course you need a small hammer to work with that staking set. And I should have actually grabbed this ahead of time, but I've had this hammer for a million years. I bought this hammer here, and it's got a one end is brass and it screws on and off. The other end is kind of a polyamide hard plastic end here. So I use this end all the time with the staking set to remove balances, and also there's a special tool that you can get to help you remove balances. Let's grab that out if you're going to do balance work. Now here's the tool that you would use to remove the balance, and you install that into the staking set, and then you turn this with a screw here like this, and it goes over the balance, and when you stake it down, it prevents the arms from bending. So if you're going to remove balances and stuff, get this, okay? Get this tool here. Absolutely essential to not damage your balance. It comes in two different sizes here, and it comes in stakes used for punching the balance staff out of the balance. So get this tool. And another tool I find extremely useful when you're stripping down a watch and you want to get the cannon pinion out of the watch, and you're going to have to look up what that means. This is my Jaws versus Alien device. So you put this over the cannon pinion, and then you press the handle, and as you can see, it grabs it and pulls it in. So I'll just do this at an angle. So if you have a cannon pinion that's hard to remove, you can remove them with tweezers. I did this for years, where you pull straight up with tweezers, but sometimes they're nasty to remove. The safer way is to get a tool like this cannon pinion removers. And you can go to Dave's Watch Parts for this. He's got tools there. He's got a few of these cannon pinion removers, And look at his other tools too. He may have some tools I've mentioned already. This is essential, I believe, for stripping down a pocket watch. You would not use this for a wristwatch, right? This is not for wristwatches, it's for a pocket watch. Wristwatch cannon pinions will come up with a set of tweezers without an issue. If you're having to replace a crystal on a watch, let me grab this watch again here that I've been working on. This is ready to go, ready to be shipped. You're replacing a crystal on the watch, glass or plastic crystal. This one feels like it's plastic when I touch it. This GS cement, hypo cement, this GS cement is excellent. It comes, let me see if I can, I've already ripped the box open on this one here, but why, I don't know. But it comes like this, and then when you unscrew this, and I won't do it all the way, you kind of just pull it up like that. And there is an applicator that, let me see, there we go. That is, it's really long, and this is the applicator, and there's a needle that sticks right in there. So the needle sticks in there like that to plug it up so the cement won't dry. So you use that and you very carefully apply the cement on there, and it dries over time. So you don't heat it up or anything. And this GF cement is made in, I think, Michigan. Let me see if I can, Precision Tools. It's www.gstools.com, www.gstools.com. But you can just Google this GS hypo cement, and you're gonna find it right away. So made in the US of A. So there you go. Get yourself some of this GS cement. Let me see if I can find out where the. Let's look for the address, folks. Let's look for the address. There it is. London, United Kingdom. What the hell? It is a US product, so made in the USA. So I must have got this one from London or something. Keep out of reach of children so your kids don't get stuck together. Now, I won't bring out my thousands of crystals, but if you're going to do watch repair work over time, you're going to want to collect parts. Crystals are some of the parts you're going to want to collect. I think it's a waste of time collecting mainsprings, by the way. I've got a ton of mainsprings, and I can never find the right one. I usually go to cousinsuk.com, 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 and they've got a crystal sizing tool that allows you to, or not crystal, they do have a crystal sizing tool. They have a mainspring sizing tool that allows you to select mainsprings. And so buying mainsprings, I think, is a waste of money. Getting a bunch of crystals is not a waste of money. I've got, if you can use one crystal out of a pack of 25, you've saved the amount of cost it was for that crystal. So try to find those crystals, and I buy the plastic ones, although I have a lot of glass crystals as well. So that's not a bad thing to do after you start getting involved in more watch repair. Now, if you're going to do watch repair and you're going to get into the balances and the balance staffs and stuff like that, and for sure they're going to find watches that have broken impulse jewels, and you're going to have to do two things. You're going to have to remove the roller table. Let me see if I can find the roller table remover tool. There's a roller table removal tool. You can get tons of different kind of tools to remove roller tables. I've got a lot of them. This one is simple. You put the roller table in here, it slides in, you punch down on the balance, and the roller table is removed. You're usually removing the roller table not because you have to replace the impulse jewel, but because the pivots on the balance staff are broken, and that's why you're stripping the watch down completely. So you're going to have to get yourself something like this to remove roller tables. This is when you get into more advanced watchmaking. Basic cleaning and stuff, you don't have to do any of that. The watch shows up. You're not doing balance work. If you get balance work, you got to do that. And then you're going to need, if impulse jewels, you're going to need to have some kind of a lamp like this. And this lamp you fill up with alcohol. You don't need denatured alcohol for this. You can use isopropyl alcohol for this. And the isopropyl alcohol mixes well. Of course, I can't get the lid back on. Oh, there we go. And you use this for heating up the tool that you're using to hold the balance to shellac the watch part, the impulse jewel back on. I should have stopped at basic watch repair, but might as well continue a little bit here. So you're going to need this tool to hold the roller table, and you're going to be heating this up with this as you're actually taking a bit of shellac, and make sure it's de-waxed shellac. Don't make the mistake of buying shellac that's not de-waxed. This is enough. Let me just turn this upside down for a sec. There we go. This is enough de-waxed shellac to last me the same 500 years that I was going to use for that braking grease that I talked about earlier. So this is a ton of dewaxed shellac. So I did go through an adventure of making liquid shellac, which was very handy, but I had to find myself some denatured alcohol to actually cause the shellac to liquidize, or liquidate. Not liquidate or liquidize, not sure. You chemical engineers out there can tell me who's right and who's wrong. So you need shellac, you need this tool, and you need a lamp, and that's to actually replace an impulse tool. And of course, usually you're re-shellacking the impulse tool. It's still there. It's not going to run away somewhere. So make sure you check the watch super carefully. If its impulse tool is missing, it's likely still in the watch, and it's likely not broken. So you could reuse that impulse tool. So there you go. So that's the tool used to do that. I put some tape on here so this wouldn't go through the end, and of course the tape is ruined. I might have missed a tool or two in there for this, but I likely have probably about 50 other tools I use. And as you get more into very specific watch repair work, you're going to need some very specific tools. And I'm not showing you all those today. I just showed you kind of the basics for watch repair. And this is for pocket watch repair fundamentally, but I've done a lot of watch repair as well over the years, and I actually have I have $1,000 hardwood table I use for watch repair. That I'll put on top of this desk. Also, I should use a cleaner mat. You guys are going to comment on the mat and how dirty it is, but it's served the purpose, and the watches really don't touch the mat when I'm working on them. One more thing you want to get. This is way more than one more thing. I'm sorry. So first of all, get yourself a bundle of pegwood so you can make a raft and get off the island. So leave Gilligan behind and make sure the professor is with you on that raft in case you end up on another island and you have to escape. So this stuff is excellent, and it's used for cleaning the pivots, the holes on jewels. So you sharpen this up with a knife, and then you rotate that inside the jewel hole to clean up the jewel holes. So this is called pegwood. So get yourself some of that. Get yourself one of these. This is a Bourgeon again. You can get cheaper versions of this, but why go cheap when you're going to end up buying this one anyway in the long run? So this is a 53.95. It's gel filled, and you're effectively putting watch movements on here. Here's a very nice little ladies pocket watch that I have to work on this weekend. And I would be resting this on this pad when I take the movement out and working on it, and before I move it over to the watch movement holder. So get yourself one of these gel pads. And then this here has been very useful. This is a Bourgeon 6240, and this is for, it's got, I'll say nylon, and individual nylon strands here. And this is great for removing corrosion from watch plates and stuff. It's just excellent. Plus, if you want to clean up a battery terminal, this works really well for cleaning up the corrosion on a battery terminal. It's just a really good tool. So, and I've had this one for years, and it'll last a long, long time. So I made a video recently where I've worked on this very old pocket watch. I'm kind of looking at it right now. It's in the corner here. And it was a real mess from a watch perspective. The plate was corroded and everything. I used this and by hand clean this up. It was a lot of work, but it's the Bourgeon 6240. Get yourself that. And now I'm going to do the last but not least. And you can tell me what I missed here, because I probably missed something in this discussion about basic watch repair, basic watch cleaning, is a set of these gloves. So these are basically your rubber gloves you can buy from any store, flexible like that. And I would typically put this glove on one hand, right? I usually blow them out by doing the Bugs Bunny, whoever's got the biggest hand wins, and I blow it out, and then I put my hand in, and I would be using this watch on one hand while I'm using the other with a screwdriver. It actually goes on the other hand, so I never need to have two of them on at once, and that way when I'm handling the movement, I'm always handling it with this hand with the glove on, and then this hand has got the dexterity for the screwdrivers. You can get finger cots too that go up to here. I've bought finger cots over the years, and they're just so darn uncomfortable. I don't like using them. They cut off the circulation in your finger, and they're just uncomfortable. So why not buy yourself a set of these gloves? You can buy a box of these, and it comes with something like 100 gloves, and one glove will last you a long time, because all you're doing is taking it off, and putting it back on again, and it works well. So get yourself those gloves. So I'm not going to continue going through more advanced tools or going through the useless tools I've bought over the years that are of absolutely zero use, because it'll just embarrass me. So that's pretty much it. Those are the basic tools you're going to need for doing watch repair. And again, it's a great hobby to be in. You can make a few bucks on the side. You're not going to become rich. The joke is, how do you become a millionaire fixing watches? You start as a billionaire. That's the joke. So you're going to have a lot of friends who have watches who say, hey, my Gefuffle 3000 is not working and the hemifier seems broken. Can you fix it? And also bring a bucket of steam with you. It may be required. So you'll fix a lot of friends' watches at first, and that's not a bad thing to do to start off with. Make sure that the person's watch you're fixing, they don't care too much about when you first start. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. So be prepared. Buy a few watches on your own. And there's a spider on my mat. I got to kill this. I'm going to have to put this under the microscope and see how ugly it looks up close. I have a stereo microscope as well. It gives me an extremely close vision. I can work off the mat there. But anyway, I figured I'd show you the spider I just killed because it freaked me out as it walked by my desk. It's that time of year again. I'm going to have to look at the ceiling every night before I go to bed. Now, if you have really good dexterity with your tweezers from watchmaking, you can pick that spider up here and then move him over to the microscope here and then take a couple of really close-up shots of this guy. So we'll do that later. So anyway, again, I'm JD. I've been doing watchmaking for many, many years. Thanks for watching my channel. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. It's a great hobby. Get into it. If you need help, let me know. I've got a lot of people write me and ask me questions that I answer as fast as I can. I still work for a living, and even though I may retire soon, I'll probably take the summer off, and I may do contract work in the fall of some sort, because I can't see myself doing housework right now. And my wife is going to say, hey, if you're retired, you got to do at least 2 hours worth of housework a day. And damn, run! Anyway, I do know how to flush the toilet. But that's not considered housework. So thanks a lot, and thanks for subscribing, and thanks for watching my watchmaking adventure over many, many years. And if you want me to do some work for you, just let me know. I don't put the email up anymore, but I should. But it's jdwatchservice@gmail.com, jdwatchservice@gmail.com. You can write me and tell me what your story is behind your watch, and also send pictures of the watch and the movement. And it usually takes me a month or two to do a watch because I've got quite a few on the go at once. And so if the desk gets empty, I can turn this thing around. Or if it's a simple cleaning and servicing, then I can do it fairly quickly. But anyway, you can get a hold of me. I do this as a hobby. If I did it for a living, I'd be eating macaroni and cheese. So great hobby. And thanks for watching. Sorry about this long video, but there you go.